She peered into my soul, her smile a beacon of tenderness that seemed to cradle my heart. "I love you," she whispered, her voice a gentle caress, as if sealing an eternal pact between us. Those words were a cornerstone, a pledge that our bond was flawless. I placed my faith in her without a second thought, my heart brimming with dreams. I constructed my hopes on her promise, imagining a future woven with joy, where our laughter would echo through the years. Yet, in the weeks that followed, reality unraveled in ways I could never have anticipated. She had been entwined with another, crafting a hidden life while I believed our foundation was unbreakable. The betrayal didn't storm into my existence with chaos. It seeped in quietly, through unanswered texts, ignored calls, and a revelation that struck me like a silent thunderbolt. One evening, she sat opposite me, her eyes adrift, and murmured, "I need breathing room." The phrase, breathing room, felt like a fragile curtain draped over truths she refused to unveil. Instead of candor, she chose to fade away, leaving me in pieces, lost in a mist of uncertainty. I interrogated myself tirelessly, wondering what misstep I'd taken to push her away. The first month without her was a fog of sorrow. Food became tasteless, sleep eluded me, and every inch of my home whispered her absence. Her cherished teacup sat untouched on the counter. Her coat lingered by the doorway, and the subtle trace of her scent clung to my linens. It was as if I were mourning someone who still walked the earth, living a life where I no longer existed. In a fleeting moment of fragility, I sent her a text. "Are you okay?" Silence was her response. Then, while browsing online, I saw her, glowing in snapshots, her arms encircling someone new. That image sliced through me deeper than her absence ever could. She had moved on with grace, as if I were a mere footnote in her tale, a chapter she'd closed without hesitation. So, I ceased my efforts to contact her. I deleted her number, not out of bitterness, but to reclaim my calm. I turned my gaze inward, determined to repair what her departure had shattered. I returned to the gym, rekindled ties with friends who buoyed my spirits, and rediscovered joys I'd abandoned while striving to sustain our love. Healing was not a straight road, but piece by piece, I began to restore myself. A year later, on a serene Sunday afternoon, my doorbell chimed without warning. I opened the door, and there she stood. She seemed both familiar and changed. Her once luminous eyes now bore a quiet exhaustion. In her hand was a small velvet box. "Hello," she said, her voice soft, almost delicate. I remained silent, merely stepping aside to grant her entry. She stood in the living room, her eyes roaming the space as if it no longer felt like home. In many ways, it wasn't hers anymore. "I was foolish," she began, her words trembling like leaves in the wind. "I thought I yearned for something different, something exhilarating. But all I found was a hollow ache, people who didn't care, nights that left me barren. I kept searching for something genuine, only to realize I'd cast it aside." Her voice faltered as she opened the box, revealing a simple silver band. "I never should have walked away. I deceived you. I ran, when I should have stayed. I came here hoping you'd give us another chance." I gazed at the ring, memories flooding my mind. I'd once envisioned placing a ring on her finger, building a life together, vows of family, growing old in each other's arms. Those dreams belonged to the man I was before, the one who waited, mourned, and crumbled in her absence. Now she stood before me, offering a symbol I'd once treasured, believing it could erase the wounds she'd left. But I couldn't step back into that past. "I'm not the man you abandoned," I said, my voice steady, unyielding. "That ring, it no longer holds the promise it once did. You left when I needed you most. You discovered yourself by breaking me, and I discovered myself without you." Tears traced paths down her face, but she nodded, a spark of comprehension in her gaze. "I see," she whispered. I had to try." Silence stretched between us, heavy but not oppressive. "I did love you," I said, my words sincere yet firm. "Perhaps a part of me always will. But that love was for the you who didn't betray me, who didn't forsake me." She set the ring box on the table and moved toward the exit. "No hopes," she murmured. "Just, I'm sorry." The door closed softly behind her, and I stood there, not in fragments, but whole. She had returned with a ring, yearning to rewrite our tale. But I had already penned a new chapter. Sometimes, closure isn't a gift from the one who wounded you. Sometimes, it's the quiet strength of knowing you've rebuilt yourself without them.